Welcome, welcome. This is Gull, your money mindset expert. And today I have someone I haven't met for a very, very long time. We were in contact a while ago. It's the beautiful, it's the gorgeous, it's the wonderful Christine Hansen. Sorry, I was about to pronounce your name wrong because I'm so glad to see you. How are you, Christine?
Hi, I'm so happy to see you. It's so funny how, you meet twice in life, it's just
we met before, right? When we both started businesses together around the same time, 2006, end of 2016, beginning of 2017. And we sort of met again, once again, through the medium of podcast. So it's wonderful. So Christine, in your own words, please tell everybody what it is that you do.
All right. So it is not entirely straightforward, but basically my business is Christine Means Business. And that's very much me. I really mean business. And I also love other people to involve into meaning business. So on the one hand, I cater for people creatives, entrepreneurs, small business owners who want to take their business online. And I share my wisdom with them, everything I've learned so far. And sometimes I coach them. And then on the other hand, what I do is that's a little more of on the QT, and more on the low kind of side. It's not the official thing on my website, but I am a travel curator for entrepreneurs. So I organize experiences for entrepreneurs where you can pause. So if you are especially at a certain level, and you start to fall out of love with your business, and you're kind of outgrown your audience, maybe even outgrown your business, maybe, and you're thankful, you're grateful, but it's not, the spark has kind of gone. So these experiences are really small groups, like 8 people, to a clean slate place where they've never been before, where we immerse ourselves into the culture, into the smells, the new sights, the new people who get it though. It's very much built on no judgment at all. There's no such thing as first world problems. Everything is legitimate. And it's really to pause, get that permission to self-prioritize, to really fall in love again, be passionate about everything, and to play, and then to have like a positivity infusion, So that's really what it's designed to be, this alchemy of travel, which is always magical anyway, plus with people who really get it. So that's my real huge flames passion project that I have. Thanks to the pandemic, I had to, shelve it for a couple of years, but I'm really happy now that it's on its way. And so that's kind of, these 2 layers is what I live and breathe for right now.
Wonderful. So now let's take a step back, and I know for a fact that you and I started together. Tell us, what did you do before? How did you end up doing this wonderful work that you're doing? But how did you don't wake up one day, okay, this is what I'm going to do. No. What's your journey? Take us through your journey. How did you get here?
So I started in a very traditional kind of academic background family. My family is not entrepreneurial at all. So I started in a really traditional, you go to university, and then I came back and I pursued my career in academics, and it was a really nice career. Everything was fine. And that's how I would describe it. It was fine to good. I had a loving husband. We got married. We had a house. We had lots of holidays. We had a great salary. We had a child. And then I decided that it was fine, but it was not great in terms of work. I was just like, every morning I had to think about my salary to get out of bed, because I was just like, it's more like homework, rather than, my passion. So I decided when I had our little one that I was going to take some time off and start my own business. And at the time it was baby sleep consulting. So my first business was Sleep Like a Baby. Turns out I really don't like babies apart from my own. I'm not a baby person. I mean, I always knew that, but for some reason, when you have your own, suddenly everything is about babies.
You think you're very maternal.
Yeah, but I just had to no, it was not my thing. So sleep, though, I really realized was a very hot topic. And at the time, that was in 2016, Arianna Huffington had just launched the sleep revolution. So she had this massive PR kind of campaign. And I was like, okay, I'm going to launch with her book, because I can basically pigtail on her campaign. And that's what I did. So 2016 is then when I started Sleep Like a Boss, which was sleep coaching for adults. And so I added loads of different things, and it grew nicely. It's a beautiful business. But again, I started to realize that I prefer building the business than working with my clients and my insomniacs. So what I did is I changed it into a kind of franchise model where I had people join the team worldwide. They do the whole client thing. I just keep Sleep Like a Boss alive because we have really great SEO. It has a really great online presence. And then I decided to actually sell it in the end. So as of January, there will be a new CEO. I will still be there as a role of a founder. But even that mindset that you can actually sell a business, that was really, really
That's
cool.
Huge. Yeah. So to create something from nothing and then go ahead and sell it.
Exactly.
Wow.
And you had all this crap coming up, yeah, I changed my business once already. Now I'm going to change it again because I was like, no, business coaching, business building is what I want to do. And so I ran a year-long mastermind for health coaches together with Kendra Perry in 2020. So I think we sold it in 2019 and we ran it throughout all of 2020. That was for me kind of my validation that I really knew what I was actually talking about. And so in the beginning of 2021, I started officially Christine Means Business. It was there already, but honestly, the pandemic was just draining my will to live. And I was no in shape to launch anything. So it officially started in January 2021. So there's a lot of overlap and clarity and kind of, this is what I want, this is what I don't want. And also giving myself permission to just not care. And also that's when I always start what I do right now, because I have no idea how long I will be doing this, like I can't imagine myself doing something for more than 10 years. I'm a generator by human design. I just think I am not meant to do one thing. So, and that's fine. But it took me a while to be okay with that.
I mean, you said something which I want to go back to. You said, you had to work on your mindset to realize you can actually sell your business. Now, let's talk a bit about that, because if you have come from an academic background and you've gone into entrepreneurship, one of the major things that you will need to work on is your mindset. So how did you work on your mindset? And also, as a money person, I know for a fact that if you're used to a salary, that's okay. Even if you're six figures or multi-six figure earner as an employee, it's fine. When you need to make that money through entrepreneurship, even 5 figures or 4 figures is a big number, because now you have to value your time yourself rather than your job or your title or your company. So how did you get around that?
So it's interesting because English is not my first language. And I'm just saying that, like, I studied in the UK. I was an English teacher for a long time, but mindset, that particular word had not come across my radar a lot. Isn't that interesting? Like, having studied English linguistics, Shakespeare didn't talk about mindset. I can tell you that. It did not come across in his works. So, and it was so interesting because I started my business and mindset was not on my radar, as it isn't for so many people who start. You start devouring Seth Godin and marketing and Gary Vee and Tony Robbins, maybe then at some point comes across and you start to get a notion that there's something there. And in the beginning, I just didn't know anything about it, to be honest. I was completely new to this and I just thought about strategy, which I see happening all the time with people, And the other hand, I never had the money mindset struggle in terms of I want too much. Like, I knew from the beginning, even with Sleep Like a Baby, my very first company, that I wanted to do high end. I always liked money. Like, I always loved beautiful luxury things. I lived and breathed Sex and the City at the time. Like, I would buy those Louboutins as soon as I had enough money scraped together as a student. So, and I knew that is what I wanted. And even on my very first website, it said I'm the Louis Vuitton of sleep coaches. So the goals were always there. What I didn't know was that there is a subconscious that might sabotage you. So it was not that I immediately felt like, oh, I won't be able to charge that much. I thought I am able to charge that much, but then I would self-sabotage without me realizing it. So I worked with different coaches. I think a lot of them, like, it must have taken me nearly 1.5 to 2 years before I really dove into the world of mindset, 2 to 3 years even. And because all the coaches before, or the programs, didn't really pay that much attention to it. I honestly think also in the business landscape of online business, that has changed.
Yeah. I
And
mean,
really
when I
say,
first started on money mindset and money blocks, there was nobody talking about it.
nobody
Now,
talked about
now
it.
everybody is talking about money blocks and money
Exactly. You
mindset.
had, oh no, you did. I did do Denise Duffield Thomas's Lucky Bitch. So I had an inkling, but it didn't quite change everything. Now, what did change was in 2018, and I know exactly, I remember exactly, it was in 2018, and I saw a friend of mine who had like a flip chart, and for every client she had like a heart, and every client she signed up, she would paint it in, and she had different variations for her goal. And she was like, that's how I create my business. And I was like, that's interesting. And she referred to Amber Duggar, who is a financial coach. And I was like, okay, I actually need to do this because I have no clue what my finances are. I've always had enough. I had a firm salary. I always had enough savings. And at that time, all of these things were starting to completely dwindle. So I decided to hire a financial coach, and Amber really got me interested into it was the first time in my life that I actually had to face my numbers, which was the scariest thing in the world to do. It was exhausting. But she gave me a book that was called Tapping into Wealth by Margaret Lynch. And I still recognize it to everyone. It's a combination of EFT with scripts of potential self-sabotage issues. And it's the best book I've ever read for myself. Like for me, it was exactly what I needed at the time. And it changed so much. And then I joined a little group for just like a couple of months. And we had like a little book club. And one of the books that I loved was Dr. Joe Dispenza's
I love him.
Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself.
Yeah. That was beautiful. All his books are amazing. I'm a big fan. I'm a big Joe Dispenza fan.
Me too, because I needed the sciencey bit to really dive into the spiritual bit. So I needed that bridge between complete woo, which is awesome, but I needed still some root, some scientific root to really let go. And then I hired my first spiritual coaches, and I've had them on retainer ever since. So, and I'm very much aware if something's not working, I book an appointment. I'm like, there's something that's, something's keeping me stuck. I don't know what it is. And then they help me to figure out what it is at that time. So that's how I got started and really dove into a lot of beliefs, lots of tears. I think 1 year of a lot of coaching. And now it's really funny because I'm working with the same person for 3 years on and off now. It's when we go through all the different scripts, it's like, you've changed so much. And I did. I mean, all of it, specifically my relationship with money has, I don't want to say cost me my marriage. That's not what it is. Like it kind of, because it wasn't negative, I had a beautiful divorce, which sounds really weird, but we just didn't match anymore. I
didn't realize you got divorced as well.
Yeah. It seems to be a pattern, but we just, changed so much, and money was a big part of it. And I remember when I sold my first VIP day for $10,000, I remember going to my then husband. I was like, I sold my first VIP day for 10K. And his reaction was, oh, cool. And, my wings were like clipped. And I was just
yeah. So he wasn't ready to celebrate your wins. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was just like, this is not working. And I don't blame him at all. He's the best guy ever. He's the best father, and he's the best ex-husband, really, because we get along so well. But I could not have him as a life partner. I just knew this is going to continue happening. And I can't have this elastic that tries to pull me back. So there were lots of steps to that as this, but in general, it's been 3 years, probably, I would say, of intense, or maybe 4 years now, of really intensely being aware of what is happening. And I think in the meantime, I can really say that I'm very, 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 very much aware when I'm starting to sabotage myself. Sometimes I need someone to help me get out of it, but it's because I've worked so much on this topic. And I mean, you cannot go back. Once you've seen the truth, it sounds so weird, but once you really see who you are and what your bullshit is and what other people's bullshit is, you cannot unsee it. You cannot unlearn this stuff. So
of course,
it's a fascinating journey.
I agree. I mean, once you've opened up your horizons, once you've opened up your vision, you can't retract. It's just not possible. It's not possible for you to forget that. And it shouldn't be. And I love the fact that you took the time and deep dived into your mindset, because your success is the result of that. And I, being a money mindset person, I know for a fact, because I had to work on myself a lot, and pretty much most of 2017, and I think I joined Bushra in 2017, most of that was all around, and nothing worked for me. And, and then her methodology just, I think the methodologies didn't work either. And let go of all of that. And I thought, forget the strategy, leave that. That seems like BS. And I never picked it up again, by the way. But it made me realize it's more to do with me. So I worked on myself, and I whatever little money I did have, or whatever else I hired a spiritual coach as well to help me, unblock mind blocks, because certain things you have blind spots on. But I did. And by the end of 2017, that's when I had the breakthrough. And, I've never looked back, and we've done phenomenally well since then. But you have to take the time out and go and, deep dive and face your deepest, darkest demons.
Yes.
And this is a big thing. And I think a lot of people are, okay with paying large amounts of money for, for coaches and for different courses, but not to do with mindset, but do with different strategy. Okay, let me jump on here. Let me go to Amy Porterfield. Let me go here. Let me go to, Frank Kern, or let me do Gary Gee. They like to pop along all these big time, influencers, or they are influencers, but also business coaches, and take on the next best thing, but not actually ready to deep dive in and see what it is in show. And one of the things, I think Gary Vee is an amazing person. No, hats off to him. He's done phenomenally well. But I don't think his methodology can work for everybody. If everybody does what he does, you just, people have burnout, right? That's hustle. You don't do hustle. In my life, I think you do everything with ease and grace, and you do with divine inspiration. You don't go crazy, because then you have a burnout the next 6 months down, and then you are in bed.
Exactly.
So, but it's the idea, and as you were mentioning off camera, nobody actually talks about mindset. Nobody actually talks about, these big time people don't actually talk about your deep core inner wounds. Now, I love the fact that you mentioned Margaret Lynch. I love her. She is awesome. She's one of my early mentors, because she's one who I learned EFT from. So she was one person I went to do EFT with. And I got introduced to the wonderful world of EFT, and especially around money and the discipline around money. And I don't use EFT. I think that my energy tools are much, much more powerful compared to EFT as a modality. No defense, it's a wonderful modality, and I love it if you do it on yourself. But I personally feel my own energy clearance are better. But her concept, the way she described money to me, it blew me away. That is the first time I realized that your core childhood wounds can impact your money in the way that it can. And then I began to do my own research. When you bring the awareness, the awareness is brought to me, and then I was able to do my research. And exactly what you just said, somebody needs to give you the awareness, then you can deep dive and learn more about it, right?
And I think what was really incredible with her too is that I had heard of the law of attraction, like that people would talk about, but the law of attraction cannot work if you subconsciously push it back, and that was like, oh my God, like that little piece was like, I can attract as much as I want to if my subconscious is actually protecting me from it because I have unresolved issues.
Yeah.
There's no way it's going to happen. And I was like, oh, that makes sense.
This is the key. People don't realize, and I always say this, your subconscious mind is not there to keep you happy. It's there to keep you safe.
Exactly.
And if it feels it's unsafe for you to have money, it will find the most logical and real reason to get rid of the money you have and stop more from coming to you. That's how your subconscious works.
Exactly. And with my coach, we do like kinesiology usually to check into my beliefs. And some, after a session, they're fine, they're like healed, and some will come back in different shapes or form, but it's always the same core one. But it's as you said, your subconscious will find another twisted way of positioning it just a tad differently that it will mess you up, So it's like, I really think it's a never ending journey. And what is, I do feel that people start to talk more about it because, and I think that's just the business landscape that has changed as well.
Yes, it has.
It was a very masculine vibe in 2015, 2016.
Yes. Yeah, especially the online space. The online space was heavily dominated by really alpha male, masculine,
and even the women took on that
very masculine
male
energies as well.
exactly. Even though the branding was very feminine, it was all pink and gold at the time, I remember painfully. The marketing structures were very masculine. It was all built on persuading people, or this is the webinar, stacking all of it. And I know these things are working. I mean, I'm reading a really fascinating book by Robert Cialdini. This one is his persuasion, but he also has a book that's called Influence. And it's
I actually prefer Robert Cialdini compared to the person you just referred to, because her methodologies do not work at all. Exactly. But I personally think she's taken a lot of stuff from him.
Exactly.
And if you read his book, because I read his book,
you're like,
and I thought, this sounds familiar. This sounds familiar. So she's taken a lot of the stuff and repurposed it in her own words to say it's her material. But anyway,
I love reading the science of this. And I will say that, when you build some marketing tools, you can absolutely use it, but it should never be your first touch point, and I feel that kind of completely logical and just strategic way of doing business has started to change. And that there's a lot of women who are now like, okay, you always need the yin and yang, but let's actually play to our natural, if you feel feminine, if that is what you feel drawn to, if that is your natural strength, use that. Obviously, if you're more natural strength, that's more masculine, then use that. But it's like, and that wasn't the case before. Like, and everything spiritual was very much under the radar, whereas now #spiritual entrepreneur, conscious entrepreneur is something that's trending. So a lot of it has changed, and I'm really observing this with a lot of joy. And I personally say I'm like on a crusade against bro marketing, which I just feel is not helpful, and it's very, very traumatic. Literally,
but a lot of people,
a lot of sensitive people. Yeah, it can mess up your business forever. It can mess you up and make you believe that you are stupid because everyone else can manage to do it. You did it and you didn't. Ergo, I must be completely, intellectually challenged. And then you start to self-sabotage because you're so scared of that disappointment again. And I just see it happening over. And it happened to me. Like, it took me a long time to heal over those disappointments and to, realize that you're not stupid. You're actually not stupid. This was just not working for you. But I can remember being in groups and just feeling like all these testimonials, like there's 10,000 testimonials, all of them managed to make 10K in 2 days. Why am I not? It just feels, and it can be very traumatic. So now it's really, I'm very open about this and just say, this is not who I am. If you're drawn to this, by all means, I wish you all the best, seriously. But the way that I change it around is really, I just care about myself, and not in a negative, selfish way, but it's like, if you don't like me,
then you have to love yourself. Self-love. Yeah, you have to have self-love, of course.
Exactly. Not saying that I'm perfect, pretty close, but it's like,
of course, as close as it can be.
Close as we can be. But it's just like, I'm a cup of tea or I'm not, and that's totally, totally fine. But it takes a lot of courage to then share those things, to, just be yourself is the hardest thing that you can do in the online space. You're just really vulnerable out there, it's just, and being able to have that resilience, it's quite a thing. And I just did a post today, and I'm scheduled that it's going to come out just in a couple of hours on Instagram, where I'm talking about, is it actually, is resilient? Sometimes I think it's just a word where I'm just like a big loser trying to do things over and over again. And I just call it resilience instead of crazy, losing my marbles, trying to do this again. And it's like, and those thoughts will happen too.
Yes.
So, and yeah, one thing that I have, and we're recording this now in November, and it's going to be in early December. I'm launching a super secret podcast, and it's like a private feed, so you can't find it unless you sign up for one of our product suites. And it's a super secret podcast for Entrepreneurial, where we actually talk about exactly these thoughts. Like, am I a complete basket case? Am I a masochist for doing this over and over and over again? Or, are just these typical money mindset thoughts, like I've all this experience, why am I still worried when I sell at a certain price point? Or why do I still get triggered when my mom doesn't know what I do? It's been like 20 fucking years, it's like, come on, mom, you should know that this is not just luck, So and it's catering for all of these little things, because I really think that we're ready. Like the world, it's like a collective vibe. We're really ready to talk about these things and to call them out, versus everyone doing their own little thing and being secretly ashamed that they've been in business for 3 years and still haven't done multiple 6 figures, whatever that means, or 7 figures. And you know what, if you don't actually want to make 7 figures, that's fine too. That's one thing that I was like, I don't want to have a huge team. I saw so many people crash and burn with huge 7-figure teams, and what they took home was peanuts. And all of these things are now coming out. Like I think we both started 2015, 2016. So that's like 6 years in internet land. That's like wise, wise ones.
We've developed, and as the landscapes developed, and I think 2020 really propelled the move forward as well. That really helped to transform the landscape completely, I think, because more people came on board. And I think people like you and I were able to maneuver away from the so-called masculine marketing. I'm going to share something with you. I recently joined a company. I'm not going to give the company's name. And this person has got, Russell Brunson's, 2 carbon X, whatever else, all this stuff, right? To show he's got so forth, whatever. And there we were developing, as we're at the moment with expansion, and we're building a sales team. Because I wanted to go and take it to a different level. I have a vision for our company, and I thought, okay, we can use their help, because I'm not very salesy. I thought, okay, let's develop the sales team. I can do everything, because when I get on sales call, people join, they don't join. I'm like, it's not a sales call, it's just a conversation. I'm not really doing anything, right? People like me, they buy, and as simple as that, right? So I don't have a process as such like that. It's just very much inviting people and getting them on board. And they came on and they charged me a ton of money. And they were supposed to hire and recruit people for me. And I always said, how do you know what people, no, we'll get them for you. And we have all this and and we will train them for you so they can, be your appointment setters and your sales reps and blah, blah, blah. Like all these promises. And, and also they'll do organic marketing for you. So they will do it, we'll book 100 sales calls for you, go through organic reach. Do you know what? First of all, they couldn't even hire people for me. We were supposed to have 4 people together. They've managed to get 1. The other person came from my inner circle, is one of my person who's my ex-mastermind people, so she's an alumni who decided to join my team. So the 3 people they're supposed to get, they haven't got. They haven't hired the damn person. The person they've got is amazing individual. I love him to bits, so that I'm grateful for him. But even with his training, they really fell short, because they kept doing their type of masculine. Yes. And because I don't promise anything on purpose. I'm like, no. They asked me, can you give a guarantee? I'm like, no, I can't give guarantees. I refuse to give guarantees. And if somebody asks me, I'm like, if you want a guarantee, you need to go somewhere else. I will offer you 0. I'm a lawyer. My background's being a lawyer. I'm like, I'm ethically, I cannot promise something which I cannot deliver.
Exactly. It's not a digital product. I cannot just it's not a product that you can return.
No, it's not. It's something you can't do. So, but this company, after 3 months, Christine, got me 0 revenue. 0 revenue. They couldn't hire the staff. The sales calls were not booked. Even my person who was in here, who's I absolutely love her. She's just come on and really, we will build our sales team ourselves now. She's phenomenal. One heck of an amazing lady. But it's because she's an intuitive like me.
Yes. And she knows you.
Yeah, she knows me, and she's been through the program. She can, she's got an analytical mind as well. A phenomenal person. So I'm very grateful for her. We are building a team together. But even after doing so many hours, she could not even book the 100 calls. Like, where are the 100 calls coming from, right? These false guarantees. And so this is, when you're talking about these male, this masculine, really male kind of energies, this is this company. And now to cancel the contract and ask for a refund, I'm not holding my breath in terms of getting that refund back. I think these are also false guarantees. They probably have so many loopholes in there.
Yes.
Blah, blah, blah.
But yeah. Yeah, it's probably you didn't spend enough time with us, so you need to work with us for another 6 months.
So the guarantee is only valid after 6 months, and we have to hire appointment setters for you, and for them to have 3 months, you have to give me appointment setter before they can, whatever. That's another conversation. But I just wanted to bring this up, that I love what you do, because you are counteracting people like that, like this kind of company and these kind of individuals. And, you know, what they do is completely come in and, you know, make all these false promises and show their testimonials, and real people in, like, you know, other entrepreneurs who want to help. And they do it in a way that, anyway, long story short, this company has, you know, and companies like that are taking money from entrepreneurs. And I mean, with me, at least I can afford to lose it. I mean, I don't want to lose it, but at least
but for other people, that's an existence.
That would have been, somebody could have taken money out from a loan or something else, and they would have completely fallen flat on their face, because there was nothing given. There's nothing given in return. And I remember even having a conversation with one of them when I was annoyed with them. Or I remember this individual said to me, the fact that they don't normally do one-to-one calls like this, and the fact that they're doing it was, you know, is unique. I'm like, so you're doing me a favor? He goes, yeah. So I'm like, I'm paying you all this money, and you getting on the call with me is like a favor. And he's not the CEO. He's just one of the main managers or something.
It's all this bullshit. It's like, come on. I mean, the thing is, we can see through it now, but in the beginning, it's so tempting. Like, because it's also one thing that I tell people over and over again. Why would you doubt anything? You know, why would you assume that what they're saying isn't true? Because we're people, we're trusting people. So it's like, and then being disappointed, it's just like, it's unbelievable, not in a way that it's not credible, but it's really difficult to actually believe, like literally how could they, it's disillusional, it's heartbreaking, really, sometimes.
Agreed.
Like, I wouldn't do this. How can they do that? And so I think for anyone who's listening and who's like tempted by these sales pages and these claims, it's just like really, really, really go with your gut feeling on this. And I think the other thing, and I had a very similar experience again, that's what I'm saying. Am I a basket case or is it resilient? I don't know. It's traditional launching doesn't work for me. Like, I finally understood it just does not work. So I was still this year, in the beginning of the year, I was like, okay, I'm going to try one more time to launch something. Although I kind of knew already, but I was like, let's try it again. So I had a Facebook ads specialist, launch specialist. I had a mindset specialist. I had a coach. And I have an event planner for an online event that was supposed to be for 3 days. And we had aimed at 90 people. With all of these people, we signed up 3. 3. And I was like, we had sponsors. Like, I have a gazillion of perfumes, of drinks, of notebooks, of pens, and we didn't manage. And I was like trusting and believing in everything, because I was like, we've got everything. I'm not going to panic until the last day. And then I was like, fuck this, seriously, I'm done. But what was interesting was I can't blame a coach, like a mindset coach or anything like that. And I don't think it was their problem or their issue. But the strategist, though, you are a strategist. You work with numbers. You promise numbers. You didn't deliver. I am over it. Like, I'm too experienced. And I was like, I want a refund, like, it's the first time in a long time. But I was like, this is what we started with. You came in time. We started 3 months before. Everything was done according to your counsel and your consulting. So there I finally had like the equivalent of man balls, my to really say like, no, I'm really expecting this now. And the other thing that I've really learned from this is that you have things that are more aligned with you than others. And one example that I want to share, because I think it can give you just a food for thought, is that I don't like writing, which is hilarious because I'm publishing a book, but I had a ghostwriter write it because I don't like writing. So I honestly think it's not the best medium for me. And I'm actually translating the whole thing into an audiobook course as well, because that's more my thing. That's like my zone is video and audio. And so my newsletter, I'm paying like over 20K for my copywriters to write my newsletter because I hate writing. And if I didn't have them, I wouldn't get it done. And they're really good. I love them to bits. I never know my newsletters until they actually send, because I don't even bother rereading them because I really enjoy them. But it's not translating. There's no ROI. So I'm like, okay, I don't think it's because of a lack of skill. I honestly just think it's because it's not my medium. So I'm actually switching up my whole business, my whole newsletters, my funnels, all of it is going to be audio as of the new year. So it's all private feeds, but it's just audio. So it's very different for most people. But I'm like, this is my zone, you know, this is me. And getting people to get used to that audio. That's what I'm doing now, like working a lot with audiograms, and that people just get used to it, that Christine is just audio. But I think that's also, sometimes you need to take steps that sound completely weird, but you inherently know exactly what is true for you and what isn't. But it can be very hard to actually have the courage to take that decision and to say, okay, everyone else says you should do this, but nope.
I agree. I think you have to take the stand and say, okay, this is going to work for me and not for you. Okay, so on that rate, this has been longer than I wanted, but anyway, it's been a wonderful conversation. So let's wrap this up. Christine, where can we connect with you? How can we find you on the internet?
The best way to find me is to go to my website, christinemeansbusiness.com. And there you will find the links to my social media platforms. So my handle at the moment for Instagram is by Christine_Hansen. However, I've lost an Instagram account before, so I won't vouch for it that it will be there forever. However, christinemeansbusiness.com should be there for quite a while. So that would be the easiest way to get in touch.
Wonderful. So if you're listening to this on the podcast, remember the links for Christine will be in the show notes. And if you're watching this on YouTube, down below in the description section, we'll have all the links for you to connect with Christine. Do check her out. She is one kick-ass lady, and she is so wonderful to talk to that I got carried away with that conversation. So go and check her out and see how she can help you build your business. Well, thank you so much, Christine, for being a guest today. We have to have you back on Money Talkies because we have to continue this conversation. You're so awesome. So do come back with us. Thank you so much for being here today. And thank you for listening to me and Christine. I will be back on another Friday feature with another amazing guest sharing their life story, telling us how they changed their life by changing their mindset. Until the next time we meet, this is Gull signing off. Take care and bye for now.